Now, we have Lauren Fox's camera there. We're trying to get Congressman Tim Moore, a Republican from North Carolina, with us now. Nice to see you making the quick switch there with Lauren Fox. Your reaction this morning after that long night?
Well, I tell you, I'm so rested. I had almost a full hour of sleep last night. Look, I'm really excited for this morning, and I think Speaker Johnson said it very well, that the entire Republican conference supports him and the leadership team and the president. And really came together to get this bill across the line. And so I really have to give credit to our leadership, to Speaker Johnson and the President, for really getting folks together and making this happen, because this is going to do so much for our economy. It's going to get things moving forward. It, of course, what it's going to do on border security, energy exploration. You know, that's not being talked about a lot, but I think that's going to do so much to help move our economy forward.
What possible changes in the Senate, because this is where it goes next, and you know they're going to change it because, as people like to say, there are two parties in Washington. There's the House and the Senate. What changes do you fear the Senate might make?
You know, I'm not concerned about what change. Certainly we know that there will be changes, but what I've seen throughout the process, again, this is as a new member, is that when the Speaker has communicated with every member of our conference, he's also been very candid and talking about where they are with the Senate leadership. And one of the early meetings we had, Senator Thune actually came and spoke to our conference. So I have confidence that where we are, you know, there may be some things along the line, but in terms of the priorities, I mean, these are the priorities the President set forth. These are the priorities of all the Republicans. And I think this is a great day. And, you know, folks keep underestimating out there at the Speaker. And I think, once again, he's shown that the reason he's our Speaker, he's doing a great job.
So how much deficit reduction are you promising your constituents in North Carolina from this bill?
So the big thing is, for once, finally, you know, after decades of deficits and debt out of control, we're finally taking a step forward to get this done. Again, I'm one of the new guys here, right? And a lot of the new members are talking about how we've got to get the debt under control. And so this moves that forward. I do think in the CBO scoring, where they're talking about adding to it, what they're not taking into account, because it's a static model, what they're not taking into account is probably the growth that we're going to have in GDP. And probably the biggest indicator from that is going to be what you have in energy, with the energy production, where instead of relying on other countries to get our energy, we're going to once again become an energy exporter like we were during President Trump's first term. And look, if you look at what the estimates were the first time.
During the Biden administration, you do know there was more oil produced than at any other time. But that's neither here nor there. The independent budget office.
Well, that was because the Trump administration started it, and then, of course, Biden stopped things, stopped the pipeline.
But the deficits expanded then, and they've expanded now, and they're projected to expand even more because of this bill. You cited the Congressional Budget Office, which you say has static scoring there. They say over $2 trillion. Right. Penn Wharton, another independent analysis, says, you know, well over $3 trillion. Moody's is concerned it could be $4 trillion. The independent analysis shows this is going to expand, grow the deficits, which you say this bill actually takes under control. How is that?
So, because what it's going to do, here's the thing that doesn't get factored in. When you cut taxes, you spur economic activity, which then fuels the economy. We saw that, for example, remember when the TCJA first passed in 2017, there was these estimates that was going to grow up even more. And in turn, what you saw was it did not increase like that. Now, the X factor that came along that nobody saw, of course, was COVID, right? And what happened in 2020 with the economy. But I'll tell you this, but for those initial tax cuts that passed in, we would have been in much worse shape.
Let me play you. I had Rich McCormick, Republican from Georgia, who voted for the bill. He absolutely did vote for it, along with almost the rest of your colleagues. But man, he didn't sound happy about it before he went into last night. Listen.
It's irresponsible, and eventually most of our budget is going to be consumed by deficit debt payments. I mean, it's the servicing of that, and that's so irresponsible for our children. It's going to bring us to our knees in our currency standard. We've been downgraded by Moody's. That's the second time in 2 years. We're in trouble. I would love somebody to give me a better alternative right now.
He was saying he would love a better alternative than what you had overnight. So are your joys tempered like his?
So I believe, again, I mean, I do share the same concern that all of our conference does in any amount of debt we have. And then what you've got to watch for, too, is the amount of debt relative to the GDP. And some folks say it should be around 3%. I think we're getting actually close to 6%. And if we had stayed on the track we were with what the Democrats wanted to do, who knows where we would be. So this is finally getting it under control, turning it around. But it's like anything else. I mean, this is a problem that's taken decades to get here, and we can't fix it in 1 year. But this is a step forward, and I think you'll see us build on that next year and in the following year.
We will see, obviously, as it heads towards the Senate. The bond markets yesterday, pretty nervous about it as well. But as you say, we'll find out more as it moves forward. Congressman Tim Moore from North Carolina, thank you for your time.